everyone's been talking about technology, right, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we're going to take a big leap into the future and see where AI could take us. What are the risks and what are the opportunities? Let me introduce you now for a power talk to Umang Bedi, who's co-founder of local language technology platform Verse Innovation. How does he see Gen AI shaping the future? Umang.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I'd like to just start off with a big thank you to Manoj and the entire IGF team for creating such a vibrant platform for all of us to be here and share the diversity of our perspectives across business, geopolitical, investing, tech. It's a really bohemian and eclectic atmosphere, and I've loved supporting Manoj in this journey over the last 6 years. This whole conversation started a couple of months ago when Manoj gave me a call, and he said two things. He said, why don't you come down and you're seeing the world change with AI and talk to us about how AI is going to disrupt our lives in the next 10 to 15 years. The second thing that he should have told me, but he forgot, was to send me a memo for the dress code, so I apologize for that. But nonetheless, it was very exciting because as entrepreneurs, we're involved in this world and we're seeing it on a day-to-day perspective, but we don't think that far. We think 3 years, we think 5 years, but the moment you go down to the journey of thinking 10 to 15 years, it's a journey of introspection. It's a journey where you look within, you look at signals, you look at patterns, you look at data, and try and correlate that, right? And that's what I'm about to talk to you over the next 10 to 12 minutes. But fundamentally, one thing that I am as an individual is a techno-optimist. And so I think everything that I will share today is going to be driven by entrepreneurs. The finest entrepreneurs in the world are really going to come and disrupt the next layer of technology with AI, right? As we gaze into the future, what the future looks like, I thought I'll spend a minute to tell you how we got here. And that's really delving into the past. When you think about how fast AI is changing or computers is changing, this world was actually built on a framework which was adapted from the US Navy. It's an acronym called OOAD, which is observe, orient, decide, and act. So when you observe something, it's your power of perception, right? When you are oriented to something, it's your cognitive ability to really understand what that piece of information is. When you're deciding, you're really prioritizing in terms of what actions you're going to take. And when you're acting, you're really delivering on that outcome. Now, this was a framework that was used to teach soldiers their decision-making process when on the field. And it was that framework that was adapted to the world of computers really around the last 20 years. And if you think about the last 20 years, computers have gotten really good at the whole perception. They've gotten really good at acting and delivering on, prioritizing those tasks and delivering on it. But up until a year ago, they were really weak on the human cognitive ability, right? And generative AI with OpenAI and now a bunch of other companies that have jumped in has completely transformed that landscape. And it's changing really, really fast, right? In my mind, dynamic algorithms are going to change the history of the world forever. The history of the world is not going to be written by the pen alone. It's going to be written by algorithms that learn, adapt, and evolve over time. Like every day, the space is getting disrupted so fast, it's not even funny. And these algorithms are just going to continuously learn and get better. But there are a lot of risks associated with this as well. So over the next couple of slides, I'm just going to talk to you about how I see the future. But I thought I'll reflect on statements of 4 visionaries on this page. In my mind, AI will be everywhere and will touch everything. I think Sundar said this so beautifully, it will have the most profound impact on humanity, greater than fire, electricity, and the internet. Jensen, of course, who's a net beneficiary of this all, says that it's greater than anything that he's seen in the last 40 years, including the internet. Think about the last mobile disruption that we had, right? Was when mobile came out. First it was internet, then mobile. This is unprecedentedly going to be larger, way larger. And I'm going to take a shot at trying to look back and predict. It's, as I said, it's a little bit of an oxymoron, but I truly believe that there would be naysayers in this room who are going to diss everything that I say, right? And that's okay. That's totally cool. But from the pace at which we are seeing things develop, this is going to be a transformative change. And I think it's going to be a privilege just to live through it all and experience it. So the first big prediction from my side is on healthcare. I look at the world where free predictive healthcare would be available, or near free predictive healthcare would be available to everyone. And what I mean by that is when you just look at the size of the AI healthcare market, it's a $200 billion opportunity in the next 5 years. But today's healthcare is great, but it's really focused around cure. I think the healthcare that we are going to see with AI is really going to focus on prevention, early detection, right? Classifying brain tumors, looking at cardiovascular profiles, looking at early detections of cancer, and it's going to be deeply personalized. And I think it's going to have an accuracy rate which is very, very high. And we're already seeing signs of doctors using this around the world. The second big paradigm shift is going to be education. I think education is a universal basic right. And when I think about education, this is where it gets really cool, right? Some amazing work being done by Khan Academy and Microsoft in this space, but free education or near free education would be available to all children. If you just think about all of us who came out of college, like, I don't think I was really employable for 3 years because my education didn't really solve for the needs of what was needed in business. But here you're going to have deeply personalized learning journeys. You're going to create learners, the next generation of learners, learners who have the ability to gain data-driven insights, interactive simulations, and adapt in that learning process. And this is going to be critical because I truly believe that the global workforce and the entire economy is going to be reimagined. If you think about the industrial era, there was a complete reimagination of jobs, right? And we've all heard this narrative that AI is going to take away jobs. And I think that's true. I will go out on the record and say that's true. It's going to take away mundane, repetitive jobs which are on a shop floor of a factory or on an assembly line in a factory. And I don't even know if you did that job for 30 days, is it really a job or borderline slavery, right? So AI is going to remove the servitude element of it, but I think it's going to drive a generation and a creation of new job opportunities. This is a $4 trillion market in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to create new jobs that's going to be enabled by the education process around delivering lifelong learning and creating those lifelong learners through that personalized experience. One thing that, how many people here code software in this room, right? That's a few, less than 5% of the room. This is the beauty of what AI is going to do. It's going to completely democratize software because you don't need to code at all. You're going to have the ability to sit down over dinner with your loved one, discuss an idea, and by the time you get to that glass of wine, as long as you're good with English prompting or your local language prompting, it's going to generate code for you. It's going to be a time where you don't need to work for the computer is going to work for you, right? And that's pretty cool because it completely democratizes innovation. It actually helps give it a fuel to a fire, right? One such example is around autonomous transportation. Now, this is at 3 layers. The first layer is, hey, we're already seeing driverless cars in China and different parts of the world being used by various ride-sharing apps or ride-hailing apps, sorry, right? This is going to transcend, and it's going to transcend to air travel. Imagine air travel at 4,000 miles an hour, right? Getting from London to New York for lunch, when you fly in the morning. And that's going to become a reality. And the interesting part about this is when you think about at a third layer, it's going to impact the entire public transportation system, right? But it's going to be powered, in my mind, with fusion as energy. It's not going to be powered by gas or by coal because that's not sustainable. And as long as we can change those turbines, this is absolutely possible. And I think this is going to really transform over the next few years. One big onus on all of us is, have we left the planet a better place? And we all know that we are guilty as charged, right? But when you think about various carbon initiatives, zero carbon initiatives are already underway with AI. What excites me with AI is the ability that it can drive to build sustainable solutions that can drive sustainable development. Just think about it. Efficiency in our recycling process or automation of just waste sorting. That's possible today, right? Optimizing energy consumption, right? When we walk out of a room or we walk into a room, just depending upon the amount of sunlight that it has. And precision-driven agriculture. When I look at what's happening in this space, we've all failed at zero carbon emissions. We've all failed at carbon credits. The only way to solve this is using intelligence and data. And I think this is going to be a big impact. There's going to be some very interesting enhancement in human collaboration, right? Now, one enhancement that we're seeing is creative professionals going, having a ball, because with the new kind of algorithms that are learning and evolving every day, it's going to free them up to just focus on the creative process and not the output. The output will be taken care of, whether it's video or a full-length feature film. But even on mundane tasks, right? We've seen Optimus now reach its second generation. There's an amazing company in Bangalore that's doing some amazing work on humanoids. And I believe there will be millions of such humanoids to help us with our mundane jobs. And these are actually working prototypes that today work, right? With a fair degree of intelligence. And I think it's just going to enhance the human-led AI collaboration process. The one piece that I'm really excited about, if I told you that mobile phones are going to die, you wouldn't believe me, right? But just think, how many of you use an Apple phone here in the room? I would assume it's more than 3/4 of the room. How many of you have an average screen time between 6 to 14 hours a day? Be honest, that's the whole room, right? We're always on our screens. The mobile governs us. It governs our relationships, or really, in another way, saddens it, right? The way we access the internet is going to change forever. Agents are going to access the internet for us. Billions of agents are going to work for us and literally do tasks. Now, whether those are chatbots, whether they are different forms, they're also going to be able to translate language for us. And I think that's really going to foster global collaboration, communication, and cultural exchange, right? Now, this is a very, very tricky area around governance. I would argue, and I've worked for several companies, including Meta, that Capitol Hill completely failed at governing social media. We all know that, right? And chances are they'll fail again. I would actually argue that the laws in India, UK, even Europe with GDPR are far stricter and hold a lot more accountability to these platforms. So who's going to govern AI? If it's evolving and constantly changing, who's going to do that? And I think the answer is from AI itself. I'm not saying that AI will make the laws at all. That's not what I'm suggesting. I think there are enough intelligent people that are getting a part of government who understand that this is a dynamic space. But it's going to be driven by data and insights, whether it's from health systems, food systems, transport systems, security systems, threat surveillance systems. That data is going to inform forming the right governance framework. And I'm an optimist in this area, as I said in the beginning. But I think this has to happen. Whether it moves to universal basic income for the first couple of years before there is a creation of a thriving new job environment, I think that governance mechanism is going to be well-informed with data, and that's pretty interesting. And I also think there's going to be trust and transparency. You heard the minister the shadow minister just talk about deep fakes and fake news and the impact on elections. But I think all of this, whether it's OpenAI, whether it's Google, whether it's Meta or any platform, there are new standards like the C2PA getting into place, which are going to get far and far more robust. That's going to give you a very clear view into what kind of content is coming from where. It's going to promote trust, fairness, and transparency. And finally, AI is going to transform our lives, how we live, how we shop, how we get entertained, right? And that's pretty cool because it's just going to help us now, whether it's with bots, with companions, with digital assistants, with whatever the framework, but you're going to see this completely change over the next 10 years for us to lead far more enduring lives, right? So in summary, it's medicine, education, jobs, code writing, autonomous transport, sustainable development and impact on the planet, enhanced human-AI collaboration, AI in how we communicate, AI in governance, and of course, ethics and transparency in being that partner. History, they say, is a bad motorist. It rarely ever signals its true motive and intent. In my mind, history is turning a page. I am truly energized and excited to be welcoming you and being a part of this journey with you into this dynamic, new, pulsating world that's emerging. And I think that's the onus is onto us to leave the planet, the world, enjoy this journey, but leave it as a better place for our loved ones and the next future generation of learners and leaders that emerge. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You are fantastic.